Evening, a warm welcome as always to the Vanarama National League Highlight Show. Myself and Adam Virgo here at Hoosh Park, home of Yeovil Town, and we'll get to that in due course. Almost a full slate in the National League today. No game with Wrexham at Eastleigh because of Wrexham's involvement still in the Scottish Challenge Cup, but 11 games to bring you in, 39 goals in total. We'll start with the leaders at the start of the day, Bromley. They're at home to Harrogate in South London, and Jake Watson's got the details.
Bromley started the day on top of the National League. They haven't been in the best of form lately. Striker Josh Rees received the ball near Harrogate's penalty area, and with seemingly few options available, he decided to knock it back to his keeper. But he left Ryan Huddart in the Bromley goal in complete no man's land, allowing Jack Emmett to race in. No doubt the easiest goal he's likely to have scored this season. Harrogate now had their tails up. Jack Muldoon picking up the ball with acres of space, but spot the run from number 14, Brendan Kiernan. Finish isn't bad either. Harrogate's top scorer now has 7 for the season. Bromley have a huge FA Cup first round replay on Tuesday night against Bristol Rovers, and maybe their minds were already on that game. What Ryan Huddart was doing here, we'll never know. Clumsy at best. And Jack Muldoon stepped up to score the resulting penalty. Surely all 3 points sealed now for Harrogate. Bromley did, though, have a chance to reduce the deficit on the stroke of half-time. The free kick parried back into the danger area, Hackett Fairchild smashing it home. And that goal clearly gave Bromley belief. Just minutes into the second half, they threw bodies forward, with Harrogate unable to clear, the ball eventually falling to the edge of the area where Chris Bush was on hand to fire it through a sea of bodies and make it 3-2. Game on. And Bush was at the heart of Bromley's comeback. His free kick might have not been up to much, but when the cross comes back in, Bush arrived to slam this header into the bottom corner. Bromley from 3-0 down, back level for a share of the spoils. Barrow were the visitors to Notts County, and they love an away day. No side in this division has scored more on the road, and Patrick Bruff's perfectly weighted through ball found Josh Kay, who found Dior Angus, who did the rest. And Notts County's cause wasn't helped when Enzio Bolgwin attempted to play the ball back to his keeper, but it was well read by Dior Angus, and with the angle too tight for him to score, he unselfishly found a late arriving John Rooney, who slid it home to double Barrow's advantage. And late into this one, second half sub Jack Hindle arrived and slotted home, capping off a superb away display from Barrow. Ian Everett's side are flying right now. That's 10 wins from their last 11.
We've worked 2 weeks on Notts County's strengths and weaknesses. We realised we need to get pressure on the ball all over the pitch, especially with Michael Doyle, who's a fantastic player, has good quality. We knew if we could get pressure on him and stop him dictating play, we'd have a chance. We did that, and then we used our pace on the counter-attack, and we're clinical in front of the goal.
Not much in the way of goalmouth action at the Laithwaite between Woking and Halifax. A poor touch from Nathan Clark saw him desperately trying to win possession back. But his challenge on Sean Donnellan was excessive and dangerous, the Halifax defender receiving his marching orders. Woking, though, unable to take advantage of that extra man. No goals in this one. Sutton arrived at Plainmoor looking for an upset. Torquay, the top scorers in the division, and looking for their 4th win on the spin. But David Ajiboye clearly hadn't read the script. He bundled his way through the Torquay defence and finished confidently to put Sutton in front. But Torquay are always a good bet to score, and Ben Winter put Gary Johnson's men back level with a smart finish. Into the second half, Torquay went searching for that all-important winner, but a lapse at the back allowed Harry Buteman to race through and score. That's a huge 3 points for Sutton.
Good win for Sutton at Torquay, who do blow hot and cold, home and away. But Bromley, probably worth starting with them, because from 3-0 down, that'll feel almost like a win, despite it only being worth a point. Adam.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unbelievable comeback. It really was. I mean, Harrogate, we know they're a very, very good side.
Yep.
They play some very, very good football, and they've got good individuals as well that can win you games. And to go 3-0 down, to not throw the towel in, shows great character from Neil's side. I think that point may feel like 3 points tonight, you know. And when you're going for the league, you always have to have that never say die. Manchester United had it for many, many years. Lincoln had it when they won the league under Danny Cowley. You know, they never give up. I always remember a game Lincoln playing at Forest Green. 2-0 down, win 3-2. Those results can be absolutely massive come the end of the season.
Yeah, and it's your left-sided centre-half, Chris Bush. Not only has he made it 3-2, he then climbs highest for 3-3 from a lovely ball back in. So they obviously were laying a bit of siege to the Harrogate goal here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I thought from what he's seen second half, they came out and they had a real go at it, and they just really parred Harrogate down, and they just could not get out. And I think it was a well-taken goal from him, and that's the result could be massive come the end of the season.
Yeah, Barrow at Notts County. I mean, and we've talked about Dover's form away, but Barrow away scoring more than anybody else, and right up there, top of the tree.
There's a real fluidity to Ian's side. I think they've come on well as a squad. I think at the start of the season they were conceding sloppy goals that were affecting them to try and get 3 points. But Angus leading the line, Rooney's there as well.
Yeah, this is their third on the day. I think it's Jack Hindle with this having.
It clearly sees from Ian's interview afterwards that they've really worked hard to get the tactics right against the Notts County side, and it seems like they thoroughly deserve those 3 points with those goals. Yeah, just a word on Woking and Halifax, two teams who started the season so well. I wouldn't say they've fallen away, but they're just in a little bit of a kind of neutral period at the moment. Listen, it's always going to be very difficult for sides, especially like Woking being a part-time side, that to continue that momentum throughout the season. But the massive thing is that they've got early points on the boards, and if they do go through a pretty bad blip, then they've got points to fall back on and not look down, and they can certainly still look up, because the league's so tight still. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fair point. Of course, three clubs made managerial changes in recent weeks. Kevin Watson's now been appointed full-time at Ebbsfleet after being the caretaker there. Jim Bentley has been appointed at Fylde with Dave Challoner's departure, and in turn Dave has re-emerged as the boss of Hartlepool, and Sam Ashew has the details of how all three have been getting on since they took their jobs.
Life at Hartlepool got off to the perfect start for Dave Challoner following a midweek 4-1 win at Yeovil. Another trip south followed, this time to Ebbsfleet, and it was the away side who struck first. Nicky Featherstone's positive pass finding Gavin Holohan, who somewhat scruffily slotted past the keeper. 10 minutes later and the lead was doubled. Luke James skipping into space, finding the perfect cross for that man Holohan again, who celebrated his third goal in 3 games in rather familiar style. 2 minutes later, a moment of Ebbsfleet madness followed, Josh Umrah showing his frustration by lashing out at Michael Rains. A worthy red card, albeit to the dismay of his teammates. What was now an uphill task for Ebbsfleet became a challenge of mountainous proportions. But mountains are there to be climbed, and who better to do so than a man named Miles Weston, to be precise. The deficit halved with 20 minutes to go. And then the equaliser, Weston's curling free kick evading the defence and going all the way in. 2 points dropped for Challoner's Hartlepool.
We've done more than enough to win. I'm disappointed for, like I say, for the players. I'm disappointed for the people that have travelled. Loads of positives, unfortunately today. There's floated with a little bit of negativity in there, but like I say, we move forward and look to go and use that as a, like I say, learning experience. Use it as motivation to go and win next weekend.
Solihull has shown the sort of form that saw them finish runners-up of the National League last season. Tim Flowers' side had won 4 out of their last 5 going into this one, and the momentum continued in the shape of Danny Wright. It was 3 games without defeat for Jim Bentley in his new role since leaving Morecambe, but the Fylde manager's unbeaten start looked severely under threat when Osborne was tripped after twisting and turning in the box. Penalty duty fell to Paul McCallum, who doubled Solihull's tally with a sort of confidence that got him 27 in the National League last season. 6 minutes later, the striker turned provider. McCallum found Captain Callum Howe, who headed home for one of the more direct goals you'll see this season. The away side could have done with a bit of luck, and they got it when Alex Goodger ran into keeper Ryan Boot, which left it to another Ryan, Croasdale, who made it 3-1. A bit of fight from Fylde. It wasn't enough. The Moors march on.
There is positives there. There is areas that we need to improve. There's areas where we feel we're a little bit top heavy. There's areas where we feel we're a little bit undernumbered. And me as manager and my staff have got to identify that and try and do something about it to make sure that we improve in all areas. If we improve in all areas, I'm sure we'll get more results on the board moving forward.
Having lost 3 out of their last 4, Barnet were hoping for a change in fortunes. After probing all match, Efren Mason-Clark was rewarded for his efforts on 70 minutes with this fine finish. After a slow start to the season themselves, Stockport have turned a corner and found an equaliser 5 minutes later top scorer Elliot Osborne smashing home for his 5th of the season. After a last-minute winner against Dagenham last week, it was deja vu for the away side, Jordan Keane bundling in. A sting in the tail at the Hive after a mad finish from the Hatters.
Yeah, excellent week of late winners for Stockport Barnet. Another of those teams that have had some good times and are now a little bit in neutral this season. But let's talk about Dave Challoner at Hartlepool. Surprised he's come back in so quickly and frustrated, I would imagine he feels, at being 2 up and pegged back against 10 men.
Well, I'm not surprised he's been picked quickly because he's an excellent manager.
Yes.
But I'm surprised that he's waited so quickly to come back in, and all of a sudden I think there'll be other jobs that could have become available. I think in the long term may become available. But
he may make a success of Hartlepool.
He may do, and he's got a squad of players that are underachieving. But you can clearly see that the frustration of a new manager, result against Yeovil, and then you go to today against Ebbsfleet. So there's still work there to be done.
Yeah, I suppose credit though to Kevin Watson and Ebbsfleet. 2 down to 10 men, and Miles Weston's come up with a way to take a point from that.
I know Kevin well. He was a teammate of mine at Colchester, and he knows the level. He's been running more as assistant at Eastleigh. He's been an assistant manager at Stevenage as well. So he's got in there, and what he would do, he'll work with the players. He's an excellent coach and an excellent man manager, and since he's gone in there, the results are going right for him, and that shows that the players are now playing for a manager.
We talked earlier in our coverage of this game about Solihull as one of those teams with good manager, good squad of players, good recruitment in the summer. Paul McCallum scored today, and clearly, I didn't know this, has got the kind of Dave Challoner long throw tool in his box that sets up Callum Howe for 3-0 on the day, ends up 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, Jim will be disappointed with the result today in terms of the way that they conceded goals, one from a cross, one from a long throw, and given away a penalty. When you go to Solihull, you've got to be physical, you've got to meet those long balls, you've got to meet those set plays, and they didn't do that today. For me, at the back, Fylde still struggle. They've lost 3 out of their 5 players from the, Angol was one. It was a big loss for them. Tunnicliffe's another one at centre-half. So they still concede poor goals. So I think that's an area that Jim will need to look at.
Yep, sure. As we heard, he'll be working on that in the weeks to come. So far, lots of goals. And we'll have all of the goals that remain next, including the goal scored here at Hoosh Park. Dover the visitors, Yeovil the home side. Back in a minute. Welcome back to our full highlight show from all the action here in the National League. And our next stop is here. Myself and Adam were pitch side and still are, in fact, at Hoosh Park for Yeovil against Dover. Yeovil knew a win would take them top of the tree, although Dover in very good form on the road this season and, of course, full of beans after beating Southend in the Cup 6 days ago. Watching this one for us, Kevin Davis and Adam Somerton.
It's taken by Munns. It's hit on the volley and it came off Effiong, and Rigg was in there and he's hit the bar, and Effiong again. And still it's bouncing about in there. Rigg went to ground and they've scrambled it clear somehow, eventually through Hippolyte, but what a scare that was for Yeovil.
It's head around the back and it's a shot from Rooney, I think he was, and then it's to scramble. There's Rigg against the crossbar, and eventually they managed to get it clear.
The closest we've come to an opening goal. Just wouldn't dip quickly enough, would it, for Rigg and Dover? Rhys Murphy hits it. It didn't dip enough for it.
Looks onside to me from there, doesn't he? It's a great first touch and takes the volley on first time. Unlucky.
And no side in the National League's taken more points away from home than Dover. And Dover's ghosted into the box, and what a chance! And the centre-half has taken it! Scott Doe for Dover.
I said it may be set pieces. It's onside, doesn't he, there? Decent first touch and really calm, composed finish from the centre-half. You have to say it's poor from Yeovil.
Oh, it could get worse for them here. Effiong. Oh, good save. What a chance to double Dover's lead.
Poor finish, you'd have to say, from Effiong. Got options to go round the goalkeeper. Maybe thinking over him, does neither.
Dover have the ball just about exactly where they would want it. Into the box it goes from Taylor, and good delivery and off the crossbar. So close to a second. And it was the man just on, Roberto Ratti.
It's a difficult header. Stooping down, trying to get that one on target.
Andy, more rewards on the road. How happy were you with the performance, particularly in the second half?
Yeah, disappointing first half. We didn't really get going. I thought they bullied us a little bit. Our pass completion was very poor. We give it away. When we did win it back, we give it back to them. And so a few words at half time, and we tinkered with the shape a little bit. We got Nassim out wider with Riggy on the other side, just to get a little bit more width and get Nassim on the ball. And I thought the second half we started very well.
We talked about as well going top of the table with a win today. Is that another big frustration about today? You've missed that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it is, when you set yourself up with the work that has been done and the good performances and good results the players have put in. You know, it's always the opportunity you want to take. So we've missed a couple of those opportunities of late, and that's that could be telling over over the course of a season. But I still think there's a game out there at some point where someone might take the full force of our missed opportunities over the last few games.
Well, it's a kind of tale of 2 weeks. The week that Yeovil have had has been disappointing, frustrating probably, but Dover's has been great. Beat Southend in the Cup and follow up with another win on the road, and good value really, second half particularly. Yeah,
I thought second half they were excellent. I know Andy wasn't pleased with the first half performance. I mentioned about the game away at Fylde that they didn't keep the ball well enough, and it kind of continued in the first half. But I thought Le Goul on the counter-attack, I thought was excellent. But this was a really well taken goal from Scott Doe, and as I said at the end of the game, when you don't score many, this is how you celebrate, because you don't know what to do. But it's a great delivery, and Dover have been poor from set plays in terms of trying to score from them this season. But that's an accomplished striker's finish there, and it was a really, really good finish. Their away record is second to none. If they had the same home record, they'd be running away with this league.
They would. They're in contention as it is for certainly a playoff place, but that's because the league is so tight. Clearly, Darren Sarll knows his team are capable of more than they showed here today, or in fact, in this last week.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just got a little bit predictable, the way that they were just trying too many crosses in that second half. And not saying it's easy to defend against, but you kind of know what's coming. And I don't think they had a plan B in terms of trying to create something different within that final third. They're creating chances, but I just don't think they tested the keeper enough.
Bit toothless. 3 more games. Teeth in this one because there's 15 goals. Don't blink. Seb Hutchinson's got all the details.
Aldershot travelled to East London unbeaten in 5 meetings with the Daggers, but they were behind in the opening 6 minutes as Ben Howe scored on debut. The Reading loanee only joined last Tuesday, yet with 15 minutes played he'd scored his second, heading in at point-blank range from a Chike Candy cross. Just 2 minutes later the home side had a third, Manion Araise heading in from a Joan Luque corner. And the Daggers weren't done yet, and nor was Luque, stretching the lead to 4, and all in the first 25 minutes. The second half didn't get any easier for the shots. A lovely free kick from Will Wright for his first of the season, before the half dozen was reached by an even better finish from Joe Quigley. Aldershot did find the net through Robbie Tinkler's first goal in 11 months, but it wasn't enough to deny Dagenham and Redbridge their biggest win in over 9 years. A first ever meeting between Chesterfield and their visitors Chorley, the away side starting the weekend at the foot of the table, but with a chance to jump up 2 places. And in the opening quarter of an hour, a Martin Smith pass and a Charles Vernon finish provided a perfect platform. And they were 2 up before the clock had hit 20 minutes. Another ball from Smith onto the head of skipper Courtney Methven-Walters. The Spirites sit just above the relegation zone and had lost just once in their previous 7 matches. A sharp turn and finish from Curtis Weston grabbed a lifeline midway through the second half. But that hope lasted only 6 minutes as Will Evans lost the ball to Vernon before fouling the Chorley forward. And the man only signed from Grimsby the previous week stepped up to convert his second of the game. 10 minutes from time, Chesterfield top scorer Scott Bowden kept Chorley nerves constant with his 8th of the season, but the visitors held on for a first win on the road, though it wouldn't prove enough to move them from the bottom. Maidenhead made the trip to Boreham Wood, a point behind their hosts in the table, but without a win in 7 visits to Meadow Park, a run stretching back to 2002 when Kabongo Shimanga was only 5. But the visitors had the chance to equalise less than 10 minutes from time. Substitute Ibra Sakaja brought down by Femi Ilasanmi before Sakaja dusted himself off to convert the spot kick. However, just a couple of minutes later, Joel Ellel would pick up a second yellow for handball. And although Tyrone Marsh was denied from the resulting penalty, with just 2 minutes left of the 90, the 10 men would be punished. The corner from Sorba Thomas eventually bundled in by Justin Shebu, as the Wood continued to have the luck over the Magpies.
Yeah, excellent win for Luke Garrard's Boreham Wood, and indeed for Jamie Vermilio's Chorley. Worrying for John Sheridan at Chesterfield once again, but got to pick out that win for Dagenham. 6, best win in 9 years, and Joe Quigley's tremendous strike, probably the pick of the 6.
Yeah, huge win for Peter. Balanta missing for them at the moment is a big loss, and a lot goes through him, and he's been a massive loss for them. Losing their last game against Stockport as well. I know Peter was disappointed with that performance, but that's a brilliant result.
Yeah, he knew how to celebrate. Not a centre-half, clearly.
True.
Hey? And that is a worry for Chesterfield and John Sheridan. They kind of turned a bit of a corner. Now they've turned another one back to where they were a few weeks ago, I sense, with a home defeat to Chorley today.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not my place to say what managers to say that, you know, to be out of a job, because John has shown over the years that he's a very good manager, but unfortunately results and league position for a big club will dictate whether he stays in the job or not, and today will be a massive loss for them after they picked up recently.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, let's have a look at the Vanarama National League table, because it's tight. It is tight. Barrow now top, although level on points with Bromley, with that 3-3 draw for them. But as you can see, only 7 points between first and mid-table. Dagenham and Redbridge in 12th as things stand. Just 7 points separating all of those teams in the top half. At the other end, Chorley still bottom despite that win. Ebbsfleet, Wrexham and Sutton make up the bottom 4. But again, it's pretty tight. No one cuts adrift at this stage. And it doesn't take much, as we saw with Dover today, to jump from bottom half to top half. Cold?
Frozen.
You see? Is it nicer in the commentary box?
Yes.
That's why we only let him out occasionally. Thank you very much to Mr. Virgo.
Thank you.
For all his insights. We will see you for FA Cup or National League next Saturday. Thanks for your company. Night from us.